Yvonne made an exposing document on FedMyster, causing him to get fired from offline TV. Pokimane backed up said document and added more allegations to it in a stream. In retaliation, FedMyster was planning to post another Google document in order to defend himself, but that unfortunately got leaked. Pokimane responded to the document in a live stream and then again in her own document after that stream didn't go so well for her. During this time, the leaker made his own document, and now finally we have a response document from FedMyster in response to Pokimane's response. I'd also like to mention that most of this happened within the last 5 days, and I've read every document in full on my channel, resulting in well over 2 hours of content. If you don't know about the situation and you'd like to catch up, I recommend you watch those. But either way, let's get into this response. It's titled, Moving Forward. Intro. If you haven't read my last statement regarding all this, please do. Again, that will be linked in the description for those of you who want to hear me read it out. Anyways, continuing on, he says, I want to start off by addressing comments from friends and other individuals about how they believe I leaked the document myself. This is profoundly false. The individual that went behind my back and leaked my private document to the public made a statement himself, which further corroborates that it was against my wishes. If you want to see me read out that statement, it will be the second link in the description. Continuing with the document, he says, disclaimer, don't expect some nuclear document that'll expose everyone and start more silly drama. That was never the goal or purpose from the very start. As you will come to read and understand, my original document was for my own therapy and never intended for the public. I first want to mention I was being very careful with who I shared the document with. I came to trust one of the more dedicated members of my community, just as I have in the past with many people I've come to be close friends with, and even some of them come to help me with my day-to-day business. This person I had put so much trust in would maliciously go behind my back and send individuals parts of the document in hopes for a leak or reaction, with no success. He once again tried when he did not agree with the arrangement I had come to with Poki. As I said in my last statement, this was a violent breach of my trust and against my wishes, as I've been working hard to grow, heal, and move on from everything. To be clear, this document was made as a form of therapy for myself, to address my concerns about the way Poki portrayed me in her stream. All of this has nothing to do with trying to bring up old wounds. I wanted this all to stay private and be handled privately. I can't begin to tell you how stunned I was when I suddenly saw the document on Destiny's stream. I want to move on and move forward just as much as everyone involved. After the leak, Poki and I both agreed to do joint statements. Hers in the form of a stream and mine as a document, where we would both own up and acknowledge our differences and perspectives and then move on. Poki wasn't happy with the way the public received her first stream, and as a result she spent the next few days conjuring up a document of her own. After reading it, she cherry-picked screenshots and attempts to distract the reader from the larger issue I was trying to portray. I'm going to be discussing everything she brought up here. I have never once tried to deny any accusations made to me by Yvonne or Lily, as Poki likes to remind everyone over and over why this is all happening to begin with. I would like to remind her that this has absolutely nothing to do with that at all. What this does have to do with is the misinformation that was being thrown at me by her and her alone. As I said in my most recent statement, I have come to a better understanding of her and why she said some of the things she did. That being said, I still strongly disagree with her careless portrayal of me in front of millions of people. Reworking with Yvonne/offline TV. She first includes text where I complain about Yvonne's unwillingness to work with me. I never tried to hide this fact, and even directly mentioned it in my original leaked document. He then chose a portion of his original leaked document where he says, I personally never brought up the idea that Yvonne should get kicked out of offline TV, ever. What I did do was bring up my concerns to people in the house. We all talked extensively about our options, and what we can do to motivate her and fix what we currently have, and save moving out as a last resort, but still remain in her position as management. He then shares the text that Poki shares in her document. It starts out with FedMyster saying, goes into Yvonne's room. Yo, let's think of a prank/content idea since Lily I'll be out. Immediately gets into a game of League. Smiley face. Poki responds with an annoyed face. Fed responds by saying, I leave and she says, hey, you gonna think of something, right? Yeah. Poki responds with a disappointed face and says, tell her what you think. Fed responds, alright, I'll do that now. Wow, I was surprised. I asked her when her game was done if she could come upstairs and brainstorm offline TV stuff. She gave me this face. I want to keep playing. I gave her a long stare, then just walked out. I don't know. Fed then sends a picture of him behind a whiteboard and says, I'm out here whiteboarding shit. Poki responds, sad face. I'll join you when I get kicked. You should tell her it's kind of part of her job though. Fed responds, you know I hate confrontation. It's fine though. When you think about it, I don't realistically think she can contribute much, but it's nice to have a human around. Lol, I talked to Toast before the meeting, and we agreed that we should only bring up Yvonne thing if we really considered a new third roommate, but I'm kinda glad. Poki responds, oh, I didn't know. Plus it kinda came up in an okay way, I think. Fed responds, you guys segmented into that. Poki responds, my bad, yee. Fed responds, no, I'm actually glad. Poki responds, I was like, why isn't Fed bringing it up? Lol. Fed responds, haha, yeah, it was probably better this way. To be honest, if it came from me, she would feel, I don't know, different because of our relationship. But all good, cat's out of the bag. Poki responds, makes sense. It did come up pretty organically. I was surprised Skara had so much to say. Fed responds, I think I talked about it with Skara, the most out of everyone. Poki responds, whoa, I had no clue. Continuing with Fed's document, he says, my purpose of bringing up this information was to mention that in no way was I trying to get Yvonne fired because of the incident between us. The way Poki framed it in her original statement/stream, and it 100% had to do with her lack of excitement and willingness to help with offline TV projects, when it's the only reason she's in the house. And if you read my original leaked statement, you'd know that that wasn't surprising to me because of how Poki would privately portray her to me, when she used to work for her as well. She continues to show more text proving that I did in fact bring up my concerns to people in the house, which again, I never denied. The incident between me and Yvonne was in December of 2018, and these showcase texts that take place during October of 2019, long after Yvonne and I talked about it, and I had naively thought we put it all behind us. Again, the whole reason I brought this up to begin with was an attempt to showcase that I had zero interest in firing her over what happened between us. And I brought up my concerns to the house because I 100% focused on making offline TV more successful. And then once she started helping out more, those concerns were no longer relevant to me. She then brings up these texts again. They start out with FedMyster saying, yo, what you doing right now? Poki responds, hi. FedMyster responds, yo. And then Poki sends Fed some DMs she had between her and Lily Pichu. The messages start out with Poki saying, do you have 5 minutes to text chat? Lily responds, yee. Poki responds, so... Quarantine had made it very apparent that offline TV isn't really led or prioritized by anyone, I guess. And I don't mean like talent doesn't care about it, because our jobs is to be talent. Lily responds, you mean like a Chris Chan but not shitty? And to clarify to people, she's not talking about the Sonic Chew Chris Chan. She's talking about another Chris Chan that used to work for offline TV. Anyways, Poki responds to her by saying, and I know Fed is partial talent, so he's focused on streaming. Yeah, exactly. And it also made me realize, Yvonne is like 90% a content creator now. Lily responds, yee, to which Poki responds, which is great for her if that makes her happy, for real. But also, offline TV is left in the dust a little. What do you think? Lily responds, and then it cuts off there. Poki captions these DMs to Fed with basically this, to which Fed responds, wanna pull some funny shit? Poki responds, what? Oh, you're still live. Fed responds, okay. Never mind, no prob. And yeah, gonna be honest, not having Amanda and Danois here has def hurt. I actually haven't talked to Amanda in almost a month, and she was supposed to be a mini-me. As for me personally, I'm not trying to take advantage of streaming every day, and it's been incredibly difficult to balance both. I don't know how long this attention on me will last, I think. Poki responds, I think you should be doing what you're doing. Fed responds, if I reconnect with Amanda, Poki responds, you are talent, and even though you help with content, talent is meant to be your priority. I am more so bothered Yvonne hasn't stepped up more. Fed responds, things could be a lot better. And that offline TV is no longer her priority. When I really thought about it, like, why did we hire Amanda? Fed responds, messy. Poki responds, when Yvonne is supposed to be Amanda, but in the house. Fed responds, yeah, I feel you on that. To be honest, I thought you were cool with her going the route when we moved. Like, she started her YouTube and everything because you and us were cool with it. I remember. I'ma just come into your room? Bump. Poki responds, hi. Fed responds, hi. Poki responds, no. Fed responds, I don't remember the exact context. Poki responds, we agreed like content creation was not the route, but that she likes to stream on the side, but offline TV is main thing. But now it's like sponsor deals, YouTube channel, etc. It's very weird in my opinion. Fed responds, yeah, I feel like she's definitely in a direction where she's leaning towards content creation. To be honest, we didn't make that clear though. At least I don't think we didn't, but despite that, I do agree we need fucking massive help right now. And now would have been a good moment to step up. Poki responds, I guess I just dislike disorganization, inefficiency. And that's what I feel. Fed responds, I hear that. Poki responds, so I think we need to get together and make some solid decisions as a group, or else the decisions will force themselves onto us down the road. For example, if we got someone to help him manage, what happens to Yvonne? Isn't that a weird thought? Fed responds, yeah, true. And yeah, we'll talk about things tomorrow after meeting. You talk to Toast Skara about it? Poki responds, toast right now. We know we want/need help, but I don't think we know about what to do in regards to Yvonne. Fed responds, yeah, I think we just need to tell her what we want. Poki responds, yeah, I'm wondering what you guys want. Fed responds, I mean, to be honest, all I think about is what I'm lacking. Haven't thought about her business too much. I'll think about it though. Poki responds, okies. Fed continues the document by saying, Poki's justification for all of this is that she was worried about offline TV being left on the back burner, and that we had a history of hiring core employees that would later become content creators. To me, these claims are all valid. But I showed these in the first place because I wanted to A, show that she was actually the one pushing the idea of her being fired, and B, that at one point I defended her because from my understanding, I thought she was doing a good job, and also getting streams in too, which I thought we were cool with, which largely contradicts that I was trying to get her fired because of the incident between us. I could have easily agreed with her and helped her carry out the Let's Get Yvonne Fired campaign, but I really didn't think there were any problems at the time. It was extremely careless for her to say on her stream many months ago that I wanted her fired because of our incident, when I only ever brought up my concerns and complaints to people, just like any leader in my position would. Re-Fed. She immediately brings up what she claims to be proof, or admission of guilt, about the Steve situation. After a tremendous amount of therapy and reflection, I want to quickly go over my state of mind throughout my confusing friendship with Poki. I'll support that although I never challenged her on things, it was never my intention to admit guilt on any front. Initially with the Steve situation, I apologized because I felt I breached her privacy. In that moment, I didn't feel like I was lying because it was common for us to say, let's be friends, and then totally act another way and then relapse. I thought throughout this incident we were just in another cycle of all that, so I didn't feel like I was lying to him. As to the psychology of it all, I didn't even bother to challenge her when she confronted me about Steve, because I've always dreaded fighting/arguing with her because I felt she had a lot of power in whatever we had, and I cared for her too much. In that, most of what she said I would tend to agree with to avoid conflict, even until the bitter end. I now know this was one of my issues, the fear of confrontation, and I should have talked things out more. But at the time and in that moment, it was so much easier to just say, sure, whatever, I'm sorry, than to have an argument over how we are leading each other on. I would assume many people can relate to this. What I've learned throughout all of this though, is that oftentimes the hardest conversations are usually the ones worth having. The fear of confrontation and in complete agreement with whatever your accuser says because of how terrified you are of conflict and how much you want to maintain peace. This kind of mentality would continue even before she did her initial stream 5 months ago, when she would ask me what I had not liked mentioned. I said, if you could find it in you to leave out telling Josh/Steve that you and we were a thing, it's something I would just not like mentioned. I sent these texts during a time when my whole world was being flipped, from literally every direction. And once again, I felt and believed what everyone was pinning on me was true. In my head, I knew some of the things she mentioned weren't right, but I knew suddenly trying to convince her that it happened a lot differently, she probably wouldn't buy. To elaborate, I felt it was an argument I was in no position to have because A, I wasn't mentally equipped to have it, and B, I knew she wouldn't buy my sudden change of opinion. I apologize if this is hard to follow, but this issue is something I'm much more aware of now, and I'm still trying to learn from and understand it better. Even in my conversation with Janet, I felt like I was still heavily influenced by Poki. I believed whatever claims she had against me. It was a very stressful time. It was so much easier to just accept whatever claim against me and move on, rather than argue any point at any stage. We then get another dissection of the vaguest text between Poki and Fed, but this time from Fed's perspective. When Poki says, okay, so we got a hotel, but I can still stay in yours. Fed points to the I and says, she very clearly says, but I can stay in yours. To me, this meant she was open to staying with me, and the girls would get Poki's room, because during this time, I would sleep over hers often. Then going down to the text where Poki says, beg for me to stay with you, he points out that she alone is asking to stay with me alone, and says, totally exploiting my feelings for her, because she knows I want her to stay with me. He then points to the text where Poki says, I joke. KK, I'll come if you're sure. And then he points out that she says, I'll, and not we. He then points out that there was never a text asking him to stay with them, or that they could stay with him. He also says, I was totally getting the impression that we were gonna sleep in the same room via these texts. What ended up happening is that we all stayed in mine, but Pokey and I ended up sharing a bed, but she's careful not to include that in her response. My purpose of showing these texts was to show the behavior and kind of relationship we had, and that we would often sleep over in/out of the house. Pokey tries really hard to put into question my credibility by saying it was totally out of context, because what was said versus what happened was different. Facts are we did share a bed. Did I think it was gonna be just her and I sharing a room? Yes. Why? Because sleeping over with her wasn't uncommon at the house. She later in her statement tries to imply that my sleepover with her and other people in the house had the same tone, when in reality the ones with others weren't romantic, but the ones with her were. Look at her other texts that take place 6 days later, that she chooses to ignore in her most recent statement. He then shows the text between them that takes place 6 days after the Vegas sleepover. It starts out with Fed saying, just chillin' if you wanna hang. Sorry to bother. Pokey responds, you're fine, I'm so tired. Fed responds, okay. Pokey responds with a pouty face and says, what you doing? What is chillin'? Fed responds, you'll know, laying in bed. Could you sleep over? Pokey responds, in your bed? Laughing my ass off, look at us. Out here living in the same house talking about sleepovers. Fed responds, haha, yeah. Pokey responds, dunno about your bed though. Fed responds, okay, fine, yours. Fed responds, I know. Can you hurry up? I wanna cuddle, Angry emoji. Pokey responds, lol, far from done. Fed responds, okay, just let me know. Pokey responds, yeet. Fed responds, you really weren't joking. Pokey responds, just finished, zzz. He responds, can I comes in? Pokey responds, yeet. And then he adds context below saying, waiting for her to finish her League of Legends game so I can sleep over. She tries to debunk a singular screenshot by explicitly providing context to it. She tries to frame this in a way that makes it seem like I purposefully withheld proper context. But a lot of the facts still remain, and she continues to ignore the second sleepover DM from December 12th, 2018, which further reinforces that sleepovers were a regular thing, which was my entire argument. As detailed in the image, I explained that, to me, she alone is very clearly asking to stay at my hotel room. We were not exclusives, so she uses phrases like, I want to give you the freedom to do what you want. I thought she was just testing me here, to see if I was seeing/interested in anyone while in Vegas that weekend. I was quick to respond, and then she hits me with the beg for me to stay with you, which I interpreted as teasing, because she knows how much I would want her to stay with me. So the impression I got from these texts, as I'm sure many of you do, is that she alone is going to stay in my room with me. This is what was supposed to happen, but didn't. Instead, the girls decided to all stay in my room. And 6 days later, I waited for her to finish her League of Legends game before I came to sleep over at hers, instead of mine. So these screenshots in conjunction say a lot more. Just to be clear, the only reason I'm responding to this is because she tries to put into question my credibility and further pushes the narrative of manipulation. There were a lot of screenshots I hadn't got to explain because I had stopped working on the original doc and didn't want it out. I should also point out that Pokey said in her stream and in her statement that she told me way back in March 2018 that she just wanted to be friends, which is true, but my whole point in the leaked doc was to show the on-again, off-again cycle. This text happened in December 2018. Re Jody. Before I get into anything, I'd like to apologize to Jody for painting her to Iman in such a poor light. Two of my closest friends felt she was using me for views, and ignoring one of them during our Minecraft streams. When I was told this, I was very fired up when I heard my friend had felt isolated, and that the possibility of her exploiting my attention was real. Without really thinking about the validity of such claims, I shared gossip between me and Pokey. I do want to give more context and explain my thought process while writing this document back in August. He then shows a set of texts between him and Pokimane that happened 2 days before they talked about Jody. The first one starts out with Fed showing a picture of her cat, and Pokimane responds, my moo-moo! To which Fed responds, she goes meow, 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 meow. She's so sweet. Pokimane responds, hee heart. Pokey responds, what are we doing tonight? To which Fed responds, I'm not sure to be honest. Been thinking about it for a minute too. I'm watching Kingdom Hearts 1-2 like streams. Super grindy vibe. Don't really like that. Pokey responds, I thought you love grinding. Fed responds, I mean that kind of grind, that's zzzzz. I'll prop random IRL then go wherever the wind blows. What about you? Pokey responds, okay honey, eating and chillin'. Fed responds, I have some requesterinos. Pokey responds, yes dear. Fed responds, if you see Dak Prescott, please get a pic of you two. That'll be my background forever. He's the Cowboys quarterback. Fed then shows the text him and Poki had, talking about Jody. It starts out with Pokimane saying, "Also, let me know how your date with Jody goes." Fed responds, "Geez, this year has been unreal for you." Haha, not going on any date with her, lol. Poki responds, "Oh, stop. You'd be down if she was in town. Just let me know how it goes. I like the stories." Fed responds, "Okay, sure, we'll let you know." Poki responds, "I like the honesty." Fed responds, "No, but for real, not remotely interested in her. In all honesty. Me, Leslie, and Yvonne talked about this. I feel hella exploited. And when we hang out in, let's say, Minecraft, she ignores Leslie and all the girls. Big yikes." Poki responds, "Huh? That doesn't sound normal. Isn't she really close with Leslie?" Fed responds, "You can really tell she's trying to push the Fody thing, poop emoji. And according to Leslie, not no note." And then he corrects it to more. I don't know which part of the message is corrected to more, but regardless, the conversation continues by Fed saying, "Lots of bad drama." Poki responds, "What?" Fed responds, "So like," Poki says, "What kind of drama?" And then all of the drama is redacted. Poki responds, "Aw," followed by more redacted messages, and then she says, "Maybe she's not the most considerate person. But also, you saying shit like, let's talk about going on a date, if that's not really how you feel, is a bit hypocritical because of course, that pushes the Fody thing." Fed responds, "Then with the Minecraft stuff, Leslie refuses to play with her now. We all think trying to push the Fody thing for views. And it's so obvious when we are all hanging out, and she's memeing crazy tongue out emojis, and everyone else feels hella left out." Poki then responds, but most of the messages are cut out. Fed responds by saying, "Yeah." Poki responds, "But I guess long term it'll show that they aren't friends anymore." Wow, my brain boom. Fed responds, "It's pretty bad. Had a group call with blank about it all. Must protect my friend's feelings. I think I'm forgetting other stuff she did too. What time yo thing today, by the way?" Poki responds, 4 to 6 I believe, and I feel ya. I never would have guessed. Fed then shows a text where Pokimane was talking bad about Jody to Fed. It starts out with Poki saying, "Jody on stream right now talking about you. Makes me wanna..." Fed responds, "Yeah, just told my stream to stop talking about her." Poki responds, "She's drunk, but acting way drunker than she actually is. And saying shit like, 'Oh my god, you guys, Fed wasn't on my stream today, but you guys are still watching. That means so much to me.' Ruffle. I don't know, it sounds so fakey. She's using like this baby voice. Hearing that criticism come from Pokimane is just interesting. But regardless, she continues by saying, "Yikes, yikes," sounding like this emoji. I don't know, I can't stand people obviously acting more drunk than they are, or saying fake pity shit to chat. Makes me gag. Anyways, that's my event of the day, love. You have a good stream, lol. Sorry for spam while you're streaming, lols. Tongue out emoji. I legit tuned in for not even 3 minutes, and she spoke about you twice. I was like, gotta go, bye. FedMyster elaborates on this in his document by saying, "From the previous text, you know me and Poki were having occasional sleepovers in mid-December. These above texts happened in January. On stream, Jody was jokingly trying to set up a date. Poki was watching my stream, and then later texted me, 'Let me know how your date with Jody goes.'" Fed then shows that clip from Jody's stream.
You wanna go on a date?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear that.
You wanna go on a date?
Did you say... Wait, can you say it slower?
Do you want to go on a date?
I mean, you're not here, so we can't.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Alright, well, when you're here, let's talk about it.
Guys, please stop talking about Jody. I'm playing a game. I just want a good chat experience. No more shipping. Please.
Continuing with the document, he says, "Now that we have the additional context, that I feel like she's still keeping me interested, with her use of words in conjunction with the text she provided, we get a better picture. When I see her try and tease or test me like she has in the past, it makes me feel like when she's bad-mouthing the girl in front of me, she's to some extent being possessive. That was my original argument. When she suggested the idea that we should go on a date, I tried to act like I was annoyed that she would even say that, when she knows damn well I only care about her. As we've seen on previous pages, her teasing me when we're in this non-exclusive unknown state makes me feel like she's to some degree testing me. That's how I interpreted it. With her added perspective, I can see now that she might have been just parroting what I was saying. You can choose who to believe, but with the larger context at hand, I stand by how I felt. and I see it now, which was that she was teasing/testing me, intended or not, and then ultimately to me being possessive. I'd like to reiterate, when I wrote this document, it was initially for therapy as a suggestion by friends. So I was writing how I felt, and I felt in this moment she was being possessive, because she has a history of teasing/testing me about other girls, regardless of what I had said about Jody earlier in the texts. Ultimately, I don't think the added context from her changes much because we were still in a weird spot based on how we were talking to each other, and when she texted that to me, I felt she was being somewhat possessive by teasing me about dating Jody, and then talking about her the way she did to me in the text. Pokey likes to point out the time she told me she just wanted to be friends. This happened a few times. I would eventually accept this and start to see and meet other girls, hang out with them outside of offline TV, and then inevitably always return to her grasps when she showed me signs of hope. Looking back now, we definitely could have been more honest and aware of our behavior around each other. That could have prevented a lot of internal conflict between us. Conclusion. In closing, I want to once and for all end all this. Both of us can keep digging into messy private DMs, but the whole point was to show it wasn't as black and white as Pokey originally showed. It should be obvious by now, but both have completely different interpretations as to what happened in our past. And as we both said, the truth is somewhere in between. I know nothing said here or anywhere absolves me of my wrongdoings, but that was never the point. Rather, when I wrote this, I felt completely betrayed and wanted to gather my thoughts/information to understand her and my issues better. Again, I have never disputed any claims made by Yvonne or Lily. I know I crossed boundaries and disappointed a lot of people, but I know I'm working every day to become the best possible version of myself. I never had any intentions of this being public, and I very much regret that it was leaked. I want to move on and start a new chapter in my life. The time I spent on offline TV was some of the best parts of my life, and I'm thankful for every moment, but it's time to leave that all behind. This will be my last statement I make on this matter. Think of me what you want, but judge me on facts, and not careless renditions of my character with things I know to be false. At the end of the day, it's very clear to me and everyone that has read all this unnecessary drama, that both Pokey and I have made mistakes. I feel we have both learned from our mistakes and grow as people. I wish nothing but the best for all involved, but it's time to move forward. I hope you all can too. Fed. And then Pokey responds to this on Twitter by saying, "Who asked, lol?" Very, very savage. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. If you want more stuff to watch and you haven't been fully caught up on the situation yet, again, I highly recommend you check out my previous videos. They cover everything fully in depth. And for those of you who've already done that, be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you keep up to date with any updates to this story as well as other dramas. Thank you so much to my channel members for supporting the channel. In particular, the Dank Memes Play and Boar. You guys help me out immensely and I appreciate it a lot. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.